Hi there everyone, my name is Carpenter and I'm a co-founder at Teachley, and we create educational apps for kids based on cognitive science research. And so I wanted to just basically tell you a little bit of a story and sort of a little bit of what sort of brings us as teachers into the world of developing technology for schools. And so I visited a school this spring where the principal was super excited about technology. There were one-to-one iPads in the classrooms. He was sort of just very pro-technology. But he lamented that not all of his teachers were really on board, right? And so a lot of them were sort of fearful of this technology and fearful of change. And this is a story we hear a lot. So I just, Googled today or in the New York Times, teachers and technology, and the top 3 articles that came up all have this very teachers against technology kind of vibe to them. Hampering students' attention, teachers are fighting the technology. And so with that in mind, with this principal's introduction, I go and I visit this 4th grade classroom, right, where there are all of these kids, they're all working on their one-to-one laptops, and they're learning about folklore, and they're all sort of working at their own pace, and the teacher has this intense dashboard, not this one, but something like this, and it's telling her who's falling behind and who really needs her attention. And at first this is oh yeah, this is the classroom of the future, 21st century, right? And then I talked to the teacher, and she says, you know what, I really miss my reading groups, and I miss reading books with kids and having rich discussions with kids about these texts. And it sort of struck me, right, that this teacher wasn't afraid of technology, right? This was a good teacher. This was a teacher who knew that this particular technology wasn't as good as she was, and it wasn't really supporting her. It was the technology that they were using as sort of this standardized test paradigm kind of thing, oh, at the end of the year they need to be able to pass this test, so I'm going to create software that looks like it, where there are short reading passages and multiple choice questions, and that's sort of the kids' ELA experience or their English language arts experience all day, every day. And on one hand, right, you have this potential of kids getting excited about books, and they don't have to be physical books, right? But on the other hand, you have this standardized test thing, and which one of those two is really going to inspire kids to have a lifelong love of reading, right? And so, in so many, what's the problem in ed tech? Right? It's in a lot of ways, right, that ed tech is mimicking the so-so teaching, not really the great teaching. And part of that is this issue of there's more tech than ed, and so one of the things that we're really sort of trying to do, right, is to sort of bring more of that education back into the technology and really trying to sort of support that great teaching. So first, we're really not interested in replacing teachers. We're interested in supporting teachers. And so thinking back to my own experience as a 2nd grade teacher, in my math class, right, I was all about problem solving and really trying to encourage sort of a community of math talk, right? But then at the same time, I had this problem, right, of all of these kids being at different levels and really math facts being really important. 2nd grade addition facts need to be mastered, right? But I have some kids who are struggling with 4 + 1, while others have them all mastered. So one of the things that we did at Teachley is, okay, well that's something that we can create an adaptive game around, right? So that kids are at these different levels when they're learning addition. But not just, flashcards, not just a digital worksheet, right? We're really interested in encouraging sort of strategic thinking and what strategies you can use. So students could see, I don't know if you saw from the video, that they were able to take 3 + 4, and they use this sort of boomerang tool to show that that can be just one more than 3 + 3. This is the type of thinking that kids who go on to be good at math do, and kids who go on to not be good at math, they don't see how those two are connected. And then we're also, instead of a timed test, right, we're giving kids they're battling against this sort of evil robot. But then there's also certain supportive hints, right? So if you don't get it the first time, you get this hint about what strategy you could be thinking about solving that problem with. And then finally, we're using learning analytics to give more than just a score. in a lot of these things you get like, oh, 85%. You're like, okay, well, what does that 85% really tell me as a teacher about what the kid is thinking, right? Or what I should be teaching next. And so we're working to develop a dashboard that can really sort of identify for teachers, okay, these are the 3 kids, or these are the 4 kids who understand this strategy, and these are the 3 kids who really need some more work with that. And so just in closing, so we have this teachers versus technology sort of paradigm. So what can we do about this so that it's not so sort of in conflict? And number 1 is having more of sort of these educational startups that have teachers sort of at their core. You know, we are former teachers at Teachley, but it's surprising how few of us there are at the, you know, recent International Society for Technology and Education conference this summer. Of all of the startups that they had presenting, not a single one, you know, was represented by a woman or by sort of an elementary school teacher. And it's a little frustrating. And then the other piece is to support the great teaching, not really to mimic the so-so teaching, right? The standardized test prep. There's plenty of that already in schools, but how can we really think about sort of meeting these pain points of great teachers? And then the last one is to really leverage technology to provide sort of really strong insight instead of just, oh, this kid got 85% correct, because that's not really helping anyone. And hopefully with all of those things, we can have teachers who love tech. So thank you very much.